What has changed is the influx of folks coming into an area that has affordable housing, and who would have ever thought, as I tell my community,
Right.
$250,000 to $300,000 is affordable housing, but
Not in my books, but
no,
yeah.
no,
Isn't that
but truly as a location where you can access very easily Austin, San Antonio, New
Sure.
Braunfels, Seguin, the area, it's a desirable area. People want to be here. They know the school system is strong.
I was going to say desirable largely because of the school district,
Yes,
right?
and it's a legacy that we are working very actively to continue.
Well, welcome back to the Discover Seguin podcast. Well, you know what? I am an unfamiliar face to you because you've never seen me before. I am David Pope, and I'm the president and CEO of Barnard, Donegan Insurance, and we sponsor and produce this podcast mostly here in our podcast studio in beautiful downtown Seguin. And today I have with me the superintendent of schools, fairly newly installed, I think.
Yes.
Just a year or so.
Yes, just a little over a year for sure.
Mandy Epley with Navarro ISD. So,
Yes,
welcome.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It was, as we're trying to find guests and everything, we're trying to, honestly, I'm not as steeped in the community here, I guess, as I want to. And this is part of the reason we wanted to do this. What better way to get to meet people than in an awkward situation where you're going to be on camera and
Right.
have to talk and be recorded for perpetuity.
Sure.
So I guess the first thing is, we want to get to know you a little bit just as a person. I mean, I know you love to talk about Navarro ISD.
Absolutely.
Everything I've seen is you talking about Navarro ISD.
Right.
But we want to find out a little bit about Mandy first.
Well, wonderful. I'm happy to share. So, lived in Texas my whole life.
Okay.
Have enjoyed living in the major cities with the exception of the Panhandle. And so I feel like I have a good grasp of what it's like to be a Texan all over Texas.
Yeah.
I started my career as an educator. So, started as a theater major at Sam Houston State University.
All right.
And so became a theater educator for high school and taught high school for 16 years. Truly enjoyed that time, made great connections with kids and families. And actually out of that wrote a curriculum with a couple of good buddies that now is the curriculum that over 500 schools in the state of Texas use for their high school theater programs. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's fantastic.
It's exciting, and that has introduced me to a lot of folks across the state. So still do workshops and clinics, leading up to taking this job.
Yeah.
And because of that, I also became a UIL one-act play adjudicator. And so I've been blessed to judge the state meet 3 times. Last year, I judged the 6A state meet.
Very
And
cool.
so exciting to stay involved with the arts and continuing to educate, which really is my passion.
So theater's in the blood here,
Absolutely.
right? So you were at Sam Houston State. So can I assume maybe you're from the Houston area originally?
I had originally, I went to schools in the Houston area until 6th grade, and then we moved to Plano, and so lived in
Okay.
the Dallas area until I graduated.
Oh yeah, so you did hit two
Major
big
ones,
cities.
and then my parents moved to Austin, and so...
And you even said you enjoyed living in those places. So,
Yes.
Okay.
So definitely kind of hit the major cities, for sure.
All right. Very good. So let me just ask you, if let's talk about theater just a little bit here. Are you a Wicked fan?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And it was exciting to see it finally hit the big screen. It's been in the works for several years, and all of us who are aware of the Broadway production and have been fans for years were looking forward to seeing how it would translate. And I think most people are pleased. There can be critiques either way, but I think most people are pleased and looking forward to seeing the rest. And I think for theater people, it's fun to watch people who are new to the literature and only know it from the film to kind of hold back because, if you've read the books or if you've seen the Broadway production, you have a little bit more insight into where it's going for part two. So it's exciting to watch people kind of take it all in.
Yeah, admittedly, I've never seen anything but the movie. But my wife, she read the books way back before the musical even came out, and then she went and saw it in Austin with our daughter, and they've both been mad fans ever since.
Oh yeah.
But it's a weird phenomenon now how that's so exciting for everybody.
It is,
to see
and
it come out.
it brings back a lot of memories for me as an educator. The first time it came out on Broadway, the students, theater students, really took to it, and so practicing those songs and preparing those for auditions. So watching the movie was emotional because I went to see it with a former student who is now the mother of my 4 godchildren, and so just knowing that we were there together learning about Wicked. When it first came out, and then to see the movie with, the little girls and just have that legacy continue was exciting.
Very cool. Okay, so questions for you. What is your favorite Broadway or otherwise play?
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to ask it in 2 different ways. And this may be the same answer, but it might be 2 different answers. And I'm going to ask it your favorite in terms of either performing, producing, directing it, and your favorite just in terms of as a lover of theater, and a lover of watching it.
Oh, it's a great question. I would tell you my favorite to produce with students was Evita. I had 98 students in a production of Evita when I taught at Brandeis High School. And the history of the show, the quality of the literature, and watching our choir students get involved. We had our ROTC involved as Evita's guard. Just really having all kids get involved in a theater production was awesome. And then most recently, I really stylistically enjoyed Hadestown, the story of Orpheus. It's kind of set in a New Orleans style world, and then you have the underworld of Hades and mythology. But stylistically, it's just a really interesting show to watch with a turntable and wonderful singing and dancing, and so I really enjoyed it a lot.
And that sounds like one that would take a lot of production, right?
Definitely.
There's a lot to that, yeah. Well, before I leave the theater thing, I just want to mention, and this may be something you want to do. So my assistant, who kind of is our office manager as well, Amy Hardigan, you may or may not have met her. She was a theater major at Texas State.
Oh, wow. Great program.
Yeah. So she's very much into the theater and loves that. You guys she probably would have loved to have done this interview.
Oh, yeah.
But then we would talk about nothing but theater.
But theater,
right?
exactly. Yeah. And it is a great thing, and certainly set me on the path for being in front of people. And I always tell people, if you want somebody that's going to do a great job, and I'm sure you see that in your employee, hire somebody with theater production, because we understand a deadline. We understand working with a lot of different groups of people that all have different objectives and coming together for one purpose. I think we know how to make that happen in a really productive way. So
it very much was one of the things that I looked at and really locked onto as being of value.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get back to something maybe a little more personal.
Okay.
Dogs or cats?
Oh, I think dogs. I've had a cat and I loved her, but I do gravitate to dogs. Yeah.
Gravitate to dogs. All right. Now, you are married, correct?
Yes. My husband is an accountant for an oil and gas firm. And so he is more the analytic, much more into the numbers side of things.
Yeah, you guys are very left brain, right brain, aren't you?
Yeah. So it's a good combination of, me over here with the talking and the literature and the more political side of things, and he's the more practical where I hit on the creative.
That's a good team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very good. Okay. And y'all live in the Seguin area, or do y'all still live?
So we still live in Spring Branch,
Oh, okay.
where our home is. He works in Stone Oak, and so he takes 281 in,
Okay.
and I take 46 in.
Yeah.
And we certainly wanted to get to know the area before we made a decision on where
sure.
to live here. But we spend a great deal of time here. We are at parades here. We are
Yeah.
at all the games. He loves sports. He was involved with sports in high school, and so definitely loves being at all of our Panther athletic events. And so he drives in and meets with me, and we're at everything. We love to go and see our kids at the FFA, competitions and shows.
Sure.
And that, along with our arts and our band and athletics, we're busy for sure, supporting the school and enjoying the community.
So y'all have a lot going on out there in Navarro. I mean, there's I'm saying that right, Navarro.
Yes.
So you see, somebody should say Navarro.
Yes. So I think
hear-
what you're going to find is it depends on how long you've lived in the area. So
Yes.
sometimes folks will say Navarro, some will say Navarro. I think ultimately, you're safe as long as you're saying you support the Panthers. So if you struggle with which way to say it, just take the approach of supporting the Panthers and you're
All
good to
right.
go.
Well, so in Panther country,
Yes.
right? Tell me what's going on out there. You guys have it's a mess.
It is a ton of growth, I will tell you that. I think one of the wonderful things about the area is that it's got a rich history of farming. It's, we have fifth generation farm families who are still maintaining that lifestyle and keeping that heritage going. And so that has not changed. What has changed is the influx of folks coming into an area that has affordable housing, and who would have ever thought, as I tell my community,
Right.
$250,000 to $300,000 is affordable housing, but
Not in my books, but yeah.
no,
Isn't that crazy?
but truly as a location where you can access very easily Austin, San Antonio, New
Sure.
Braunfels, Seguin, the area, it's a desirable area. People want to be here. They know the school system is strong.
I was going to say desirable largely because of the school district.
Yes,
right?
and it's a legacy that we are working very actively to continue and welcome our new families in while still retaining what everyone who was already here loves, which
Yeah.
is that sense of being a small community where people know who you are, they know your name, they know your children, they know what the interests are in the community, and that's a key piece of what we have collectively tried to do as a school board and as a superintendent is, retain those things we love so much about the area while also welcoming in our new families and friends.
So, and I say mess, and just to clarify,
It's a good
what
mess.
I'm talking about is, one, the traffic, but two, really probably the bigger thing is, the construction.
Yes.
And you
yes.
guys have some exciting construction going on.
We do,
But-
and I think you're hitting on something. As the growth happens, that infrastructure has to be there, and so
Yes.
the roads that were fine to be a 2-lane road for many years are just not working out anymore, and so keeping up with that growth, but also the facilities growth to support our kids. We have been blessed, as a lot of small communities have, to have all of the schools right in one spot, one location.
That is
And
really unique and
It
I think
is.
valuable for, as a parent, when I had small kids, gosh, it was so nice that our schools were so close together.
Absolutely,
and easy to do that.
economically for us to share teachers. If I can walk across from the
wow.
junior high to the high school
Yeah.
in 5 minutes to then go teach a class there, it really does help us become fiscally responsible. But as you grow, you run out of room there, and then the roads get quite congested, which is why this year, even though I did find an article that it was discussed as far back as 1988, we went to a staggered start for our elementary age kids versus our secondary
Yeah.
kids, because everybody was starting and ending at the same time prior to that. And that allowed us to free up some of that congestion on 123 and Link.
Sure.
We are, of course, wrapping up construction on the new high school, which is across the street on Link. And that's an exciting build for us, it's not a new campus in that we're just moving over the high school, and then our junior high students are taking over the existing high school building.
Oh, you're robbing my questions. That was gonna be my follow-up,
but
so.
it is exciting because we're expanding those learning facilities.
Yeah.
We're upgrading some of those things like our CTE facilities. We're getting an auditorium as a theater person, as a fine arts person.
Isn't that exciting?
Finally having a performing arts facility
Yeah.
for our students and for the community, because it really will be that community hub. We're, of course, continuing the legacy of athletics in that we have a wonderful practice gym and a competition gym that really is that focal point when you walk into the front of the school. But we also were blessed by our taxpayers approving a whole new athletic facility there. And so that will be built behind the high school.
Okay.
And so that's a stadium that's turfed baseball, softball, tennis courts. That's bringing all of those pieces that we currently have over behind the existing high school over to the new high school, and that frees up the existing facilities for us to expand junior high sports. So we'll be
Right.
adding junior high soccer, baseball, and softball.
Oh, wow.
So really having that K-12 experience of physical movement and athletics all the way up is something we're really excited about as we grow.
So when is the new high school going to be ready to go?
So we will be moving into the new high school in January of next year. And so, yeah, the countdown was a little bit more real as we went
Yeah.
into this January and saying it's a year from now. It is a substantial completion by November is the timeline.
Okay.
And then we'll be able to move in our furniture and get everything ready to go. So those seniors will say goodbye to the current location with a semester there, and then start that last semester in the new facility and graduate as the first class in that new facility. So
Well, that'll be cool.
it
for
is
them.
really exciting for them.
Yeah.
And then we'll use that open semester at the current high school to do some renovations, some refresh, and that'll become the junior high the following
Gotcha.
August. So I think the realization of how fast we're growing is that moving that junior high over, we will already be at capacity. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So that's the conversations we're having now with our bond oversight and facilities long-range planning committee is how we expand the junior high. And those existing buildings they're using now are some of those original buildings, that the district had built in the late 40s and early 50s.
Oh, so those are.
Yeah,
Those have got a lot of maintenance associated
they
with
do,
those. Yeah.
and they've been good buildings for us. And how we really look at taxpayer dollars and the reinvestment in the district is important.
Yeah.
And all of that is happening while we are in the design process for our first offsite elementary.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Which is where?
it's close to the Seguin ISD border. We're at East Martindale.
Okay.
So if you're headed down 123 towards our existing facilities, you'll take East Martindale on the right and head down there. And just past subdivision, there's a piece of
Right.
land, and we'll be building what we're calling Navarro South Elementary there. So it's a restructuring of the district. Right
Yeah.
now, we have our elementary school that goes up to the second grade, and then we go into third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade at our intermediate.
Gotcha.
And then junior high is that 6th through 8th.
Okay.
So when we build the new elementary, which opens in 2027, we are splitting things out. So our current elementary will become an early childhood center, which is pre-K through first grade.
Okay.
So everyone in Navarro at this particular time will start their career there, their educational career
Right.
there. And they will all end at the high school. And that was very important to our community, that we know we're growing and we're going to have to split out the facilities, but having that same feel that we all started at the same place and we end at the same place,
Yeah.
regardless of where you live in the community. Then we're going to take our current intermediate and it will become a 2 through 5 Elementary. And so the new Navarro South off East Martindale will address that growth we've seen in the southern part of our district closest to Seguin. And that will be a 2-5 elementary. And then we've already purchased the property off of 758 and Huber for our Navarro Elementary North, which will be a project we'll take to taxpayers after we build Navarro South, because the growth will continue. Our demographer is showing us 250 to 400 kids a year are anticipated to move into the area, and so we will need that additional elementary.
It's so hard to balance, right? I mean, I still think back kind of nostalgically about, I grew up in San Marcos, and San Marcos at the time, everybody started at Crockett, and then you went to Bowie, and then you went to Travis, and then you went to Lamar, and then Goodnight in the high school, and it was. It was a unique experience, and but you recognize with all the growth, they've had to realign.
Yes.
And they've had to just continue to do that. And,
right.
And obviously, you guys are going to have to do a lot of realignment and may have to reconsider realignments again, but, delivering on that community schools promise that I think I see is so important to you. That's really going to be, that's a tough road to navigate, right?
It is, and it's part of what we've discussed in our committees for the community, because you can keep everyone together, but you're looking at 15 or 1,600 kids in an elementary, and that's not what,
That's
really,
not the experience,
no,
the community
that
experience,
right?
Yeah,
it doesn't retain that feel that you're looking for.
Right.
And so that does mean smaller elementaries and does require you to come back out and build again and look at the lines as the area develops. I think some of the things we are looking forward to are amenities in that area as we see more houses come in, because right now our tax base is rooftops. And so seeing some more industry come our way, certainly the amenities that people are looking for, the grocery store, those emergency clinics, doctors, restaurants, those are things that the community looks for. And certainly being a superintendent, my role is to make sure our district is reaching its goals to support our kids and our families. But it doesn't stop people from asking me for all the things that a mayor does. So I think one of the first asks that I got when I came was, can you bring back the post office? So I think, certainly as we grow, people are looking for those amenities. And so that's been a good conversation with the surrounding jurisdictions about, as we bring in homes, where are opportunities for us to bring in those businesses to really round out the community and have a successful place to live, not just a successful place to sleep at night and have your kids go to school, but really have an active community out there.
Oh, that's awesome. So you said that the athletic facilities are going to be repurposed eventually, and the new ones. What are the dates for the new athletic facilities to become available? Is that right at the same time as the high school?
So
or is that...
as we're a little behind with the high school build, because it was originally asked in the 2021 bond, and those facilities didn't pass at that time.
Gotcha.
So we just came back out in the last May election and did get it approved, thankfully. And so 2027, as we go into the fall of 2026, we will see that complex complete. It is our hope that we will be able to get baseball and softball in prior to that. So we'll at least have one more football season at Irwin-Lee, which is our existing stadium. But we want to try to get the spring sports in and then start going into 2027 with everything fully over there, and those planned sports at junior high to start developing. We added soccer this year for high school, and so
I was going to say that's not always been the case in Texas schools, right?
No,
to have soccer
and
in their schools.
Just looking at opportunities for our kids, whether it's down the road wrestling or even water sports, and talking with the city of Seguin about what is the possibility of a natatorium, a city complex that then could have an agreement with the districts that would allow for us to look at swimming, diving, even
Right.
water polo. And having come from larger districts and serving in other districts and seeing opportunities, there's always in my mind where can we grow for our kids, and having those conversations with our families about, what's something we value and how do we go about adding that. And that's not just in athletics, it's in our courses, in our programs of study for career investment, and then of course the arts. I have a passion for that, and knowing that there are opportunities for our kids in that arena as well. It is a main economic driver in Texas, and when you look at the studies of what's brought in by arts industries, it's definitely a pathway for kids to be successful. So we want to look at all of those things, but we also want to continue to respect what we've done well, which certainly has been athletics, and then the agriculture industry, and making sure our kids are still seeing that opportunity to participate in what is vital in how our clothes are made, how we eat, and how we provide for ourselves here in America.
Is that pretty large there at the Navarro ISD?
It is.
Your
It
ag
is.
programs?
In fact,
Yeah.
right now we're seeing our kids showcase their projects at the Guadalupe County Fair. And so that youth show is going on.
Yeah.
We're seeing our kids just coming off of some great projects with rabbits. We start our pigs coming up. And so you'll see those animal projects. But we also have amazing projects with some of our welding, our agricultural mechanics, where they're building gates, they're building trailer attachments, things like that they're making from scratch.
Oh, wow.
Fire pits. I have 2 wonderful Adirondack chairs that were built by that class, and they sell them to the community members. And so seeing our kids really create things from scratch and learn to be proficient in a bunch of different materials and be able to make those things and be successful is super exciting.
That is, shop class has changed since I was in it.
Yeah, they do. They create some amazing things, and just learning the responsibility, and then the opportunity for them to speak and present their work. They're really capturing all of those skills they need to be successful.
That's awesome. What a great opportunity to develop creativity and skills that are actually, those are useful skills too.
Absolutely. We are coming off of our time during the pandemic of a reintroduction of a lot of technology so that we could keep kids engaged in the learning process. We went deeper into a place where I think a lot of people were struggling pre-pandemic of kids being all consumed in screens.
Yeah.
And so we have really made an effort to emphasize those skills of looking people in the eye, putting your device down, being able to hold a conversation with someone in person. And so this year we implemented what we call Panther Shake. And so all of our elementary students were exposed to a Panther Shake club at their campuses, where they learn those skills, how to have a good firm handshake, how to look someone in the eye, how to hold a conversation, and really initiate that and keep it going for at least 2 minutes. And so we had a competition for those who wanted to do that. And so they got to have their semifinals with some of our leaders in the district, our staff, and some of our board members, and some people in the community. And then our finals, we just had before this last break, where the top students had to keep a conversation going and greet the mayor of Seguin, our fire marshal, our county judge, and then myself, and we judged them on those skills. And certainly they are all going to be ambassadors on the campus and be able to greet people and have those skills showcased, but also just that opportunity to realize how powerful that is for you as you go out into the world, because that's a skill I think some people are lacking now that we're caught up in those devices.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I catch myself, right? I mean, we catch ourselves sometimes at dinner having those great family times where we're all looking at our phones.
Right.
But you're right. Those soft skills, right? Those are, I mean, we can focus on hard skills, and boy, you can learn the math and the science great. And that's, obviously that's necessary maybe for the job and everything, but I think you might not ever get the opportunity to showcase that if you don't have those soft skills to go
Right.
through an interview, if you don't have those soft skills to engage with colleagues or with others, it really will impair you significantly.
Right, and the mayor and I had a good conversation about the power that is in that.
Yeah.
When you are able to command your voice and you're able to be in front of people and feel confident. We both spoke about times in our lives that because we are confident and able to speak, others turned over their voice to us. And they don't really know if you're going to support their ideas or not, because they've just said, you do the talking. But how much power that is and how effective you can be when you don't shy away from that. It is the biggest fear in the world is that public speaking piece. And as I told those young students, and we had students in first grade who made the finals, as well as fifth graders, who I said, you guys are already well on your way because you've conquered a fear that so many people in the world have. And they don't hesitate. They had great conversations, they had great handshakes, and really, really proud of the work we're doing in that arena.
Well, that is important work. That's really good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, Mandy, gosh, what a great conversation. I really enjoyed just getting to know you.
Well, thank you.
And is there anything else that you would just love to share with, maybe not just so much about your thoughts on the community or on
Absolutely.
What would you want to?
I would tell you that I feel like it is truly a very special place. I have referred to it as a hidden gem that is not so hidden anymore. As the cornfields give way in some areas, it's revealing really what a special place it is. And it is because of our people. We have tremendous people in this community, in the Seguin area. I think that for me, being able to bridge a divide that I felt right away from Seguin and that HEJ area and start to create relationships that benefit not only our area in Navarro, but also what that relationship looks like with our surrounding cities, so that we really preserve a great place to live. We continue to grow it in a way that is productive for all of our families. And we maintain an amazing school district that is preparing kids to, I like to say it's the 3 E's. You're either going to be enrolled in some higher ed or some continuing education. You're going to be employed right off the bat in an amazing career because we've set you on that path with some training and some industry-based certifications. Or you're going to be enlisted and serve our country and our military. And we want to make sure our kids are prepared for that and our families have all of the information they need to support their kids. And we meet them where they are. We know them by their name and we know them by their needs. And I'm just very proud to be able to serve the community with an amazing school board and truly families that are engaged with their kids. And it's an exciting time as we grow. And I just look forward to all of the great things that are ahead because our kids are incredible and the community is a great place for them to grow up.
Well, that's awesome. Well, God has certainly blessed us with a fantastic community, and I am so thrilled that you are now a part of it.
Yes, thank you.
And contributing to that in a very meaningful way here. And of course, this is what this podcast is about, right? Is trying to make sure that we don't miss the amazing things that are going on right here in the Seguin area and what we're doing here. So I thank you for joining us for a conversation today with Mandy Epley.
Thank you, sir.
Mandy, thank you for joining us. And appreciate your views, appreciate you sharing the podcast with others, letting them know how they can find out more about our Seguin community. And if you have comments or questions, please write to us. Thank you for joining us. Bye.